weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Netflix buffering, YouTube spinning, devices not connecting, Zoom calls dropping. Ugh, it's frustrating. Let's end your frustration by signing up for fiber internet in Clinton. Click the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
From the Heart Media Group newsroom and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this expanded morning newscast. Good morning and thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Ben Hubbard. The news is brought to you by Baum Chevy Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, as well as Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The McLean County Museum of History is almost set to unveil a new temporary exhibit about the local history of baseball and softball. Candace Summers, Senior Director of Education at the museum, explains that More Than a Game, a community history of baseball and softball, will be the latest rotating exhibit on display when it opens on July 18th. She says it was no trouble to find relevant history right in McLean County and its communities.
Yeah, so we're super excited to be unveiling our next temporary exhibit, although it'll be up for 5 years. So I don't know how temporary that is, but it's a changing exhibit that will be up that's called More Than a Game, a community history of baseball and softball. And baseball and softball have a really rich and vast history in Bloomington Normal. We've had baseball teams, since the pre-Civil War, and then of course softball coming towards the 20th century, and we've had minor league teams, we've had players go on to the big leagues. We have a 19th century baseball player that still holds a record to this day, Charles Old Hoss Radburn, who pitched 59 winning games in one season in 1884.
Wow.
So it helps. He was the only pitcher for the team for part of the season, but still a record. One of the few 19th century baseball players in Cooperstown. And so we're going to be exploring not just, who the players were and the history of the teams, but what issues came up in the games of baseball and softball, because it very much mirrored what was going on nationally and politically, where you had the race divisions, where Black players weren't allowed to play with white players for quite a long time. Women breaking the barrier into softball, Title IX, things like that. And of course, lots of fun activities to kick off that exhibit when we open it on July 18th.
Summers says they have many interesting artifacts that were passed down through generations and then donated by community members to preserve not only the piece, but the memory of the family.
So one of my favorites is a baseball that's signed by Old Hoss and his team from what's considered to be the first completed World Series type event. And it's super cool that we have this baseball in our collection. People come all the time and they're like, how did you get this? And it's like, well, Old Hoss was from Bloomington, so of course that's why we have it. Once Old Hoss was no longer a baseball player because he basically ruined his arm pitching, go figure. He ended up owning a bar in downtown Bloomington called Radburn's Place, which would have been just a couple blocks from the museum. And I'm assuming he had the ball there, and then descendants donated it to our historical society, which was founded in 1892. But we have, just a treasure trove of other artifacts, uniforms from players, gloves and hats and just all sorts of amazing things. It's going to be super cool to showcase these items, not just, minor league ball, but Illinois State, Illinois Wesleyan. Also the era when all these businesses had teams too. So like Beer Nuts had a team, State Farm had a team. So it's going to be really cool to highlight how everybody had a chance to play baseball and softball. It didn't matter who you were or what your ability was. baseball and softball are your story and our story.
Guest curator Bill Kemp and his expertise were essential to the research that went into the exhibit. Summers says they were able to build off his knowledge of the 3I League that existed across Iowa, Illinois, and Indiana, which was active from 1901 to 1961.
So usually researching for an exhibit of this type can take, 2 to 3 years just to do the research. Our guest curator for the exhibit, Bill Kemp, he's kind of like our local baseball guru. He's been writing about baseball for a long time in our Pantograph column that the museum has. So there's numerous stories that kind of peppered over the decades we've been doing that column. And then he presents a program on one minor league called the 3I League, which a lot of people think 3I like the letter I, but it's like 3I like your eyeball. And that was the Illinois, Indiana, and Iowa Baseball League, where you had teams traveling throughout those states playing each other. And so that was a great foundation for this exhibit. And then we built on that, branching out into softball, learning about men's fast pitch softball, of course, women's softball, connected to the colleges. And so as you're doing the exhibit research, you start thinking about like what images are there, and also what kind of artifacts do we have in our collection to support an exhibit of this type? Because it wouldn't be much of an exhibit if you didn't have any artifacts on display. So that's when you kind of go through and see what all you have, and then you narrow it down to what is safe to display, meaning that the artifact is in good enough condition to display.
As the grand opening of this exhibit on July 17th grows closer, or July 18th rather, we'll hear from Summers on the event and activities that will be hosted in honor of the display. In the meantime, learn more at mchistory.org. Elder Abuse Awareness Day was June 15th, and Social Security is imploring families and communities to step up and help protect these vulnerable populations from a quiet form of abuse, scams. Jack Myers with Social Security indicates elder abuse can take many forms: physical harm, emotional abuse, neglect, financial exploitation, or scams. Abuse can happen to anyone. Signs may be obvious or hard to spot.
Last month, we celebrated, Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And so that kind of got me thinking about some of our topics that we talk about and how that fits into that subject. And, obviously the importance of safeguarding older adults. And so when it comes to Social Security, one of the things I think about are the scams that we often talk about. And so if we kind of think about how we need to protect America's seniors from abuse, neglect, and exploitation, and the shared responsibility that is, I think that's a good place to start in terms of Social Security. And that's something that we can all probably do a better job of. Family, friends, neighbors, caregivers, we can all make a meaningful difference in an older person's life. And these scams that target seniors are something that we need to talk more about. Scammers often impersonate government employees, and they try to target seniors with tactics that include calls, text, emails, messages claiming that there are issues with Social Security numbers or benefits. And they design these to create fear and urgency. So
scammers often impersonate government employees to target seniors. Myers indicates common scam tactics include calls, texts, emails, or messages claiming issues with Social Security numbers or benefits. Scams create fear and urgency, pressuring individuals to share personal information or send money.
A lot of our seniors really rely heavily on their monthly Social Security payments. And when you can create, as a scammer, when you can create a fear or a worry that those benefits might go away, that puts those seniors in a real vulnerable position. so I think what we need to do better is help people understand that that's not how Social Security works. We're not going to call a person up out of the blue and threaten to take away their benefits. We're not creating those panic-inducing moments. So if your loved one, your family member, your neighbor, your friend, whoever it is, if they're getting that type of call, help them to understand ahead of time that that's not real. That's not something that's happening. That's not something that we're going to do.
According to Myers, Social Security is partnering with other federal agencies on the new national Never Ever campaign to raise awareness about government imposter scams. Key reminders include never ever will a government employee say your money isn't safe, move it to protect it. Never ever will a government employee threaten to suspend benefits if you don't pay immediately. Never ever will a government employee demand payment via apps, cryptocurrency, wire transfer, or gift cards.
And there was recently a campaign that was started to raise awareness about this called the Never Ever campaign. So that's kind of a good launching point for the discussion. Some key reminders: never ever will a government employee say your money isn't safe, move it to protect it. Never ever will a government employee threaten to suspend benefits if you don't pay immediately. And never ever will a government employee demand payment via apps, cryptocurrency, wire transfer, or gift cards. So these are just a few talking points that you can use. Maybe you're getting together at a barbecue this weekend for 4th of July. Have that conversation, talk to them about it, because unfortunately, people that we don't think would fall victim to these scams are. And it's really heartbreaking when you hear stories about people that have shifted what little, or in some cases great, life savings they might have into a different account, only to be taken advantage of and somebody steal that.
Myers has more information about elder abuse and scams, and we'll have more on that with him next week from the Heart Media Group. To protect yourself from Social Security related scams, get up-to-date scam information and report guidance at ssa.gov/scams. You can also visit eldercare.acl.gov/home to connect older adults and caregivers with local resources. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Let's take a quick break with a word from our sponsors.
Baum Chevrolet Buick offers full transportation options while giving you peace of mind. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. This is what we do every day. We listen to you, give you options for routine maintenance, major mechanical problems, or collision repairs with a staff that's knowledgeable to find the best option for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick, your full-service dealer. See us at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
It's the quiet moments you count on. A call that connects instantly, a show that never buffers, a home that just works. That's the difference with Connexus Fiber Internet. We built a buried fiber network designed for consistency, earning us the title of top-rated fiber internet provider in Illinois. With plans starting as low as $25 a month and 3-year price lock options, it's reliability you can feel without the unpredictability. Because with Connexus, connection means everything. Experience better at Connexus.com. Nothing Connexus like Connexus.
News time is 22 minutes after the top of the hour. You're listening to the WHOW Morning Show. Lakeland College has been approved as an official testing site for the National Registry Emergency Medical Technician Licensing Exams, or NREMT. The approval means graduates of Lakeland's emergency medical services and paramedic programs, along with other area EMTs, can now take the national licensing exam on campus in Mattoon instead of traveling longer distances to other sites. The NREMT exam measures the knowledge and skills of emergency medical professionals and is recognized in all 50 states. Successfully passing the exam allows EMTs to transfer their licenses across state lines and pursue employment opportunities nationwide. The exams are administered through Pearson VUE, an international leader in professional licensing and certification testing. College officials identified the need for a closer testing location and worked with Pearson VUE to have the Mattoon campus approved as an authorized testing center. The college officially received that approval on June 2nd. Emergency Services Program Director and Clinical Coordinator Jasmine Ballard says offering the exams on campus will help reduce travel barriers and ease stress for students pursuing their national certifications. The National Registry EMT licensing exams are now available at Lakeland College, located at 5001 Lakeland Boulevard in Mattoon, providing a convenient regional testing site for both Lakeland students and other emergency medical professionals throughout the area. For further information about testing options, at Lakeland College, contact Jasmine Ballard at 217-234-5370 or jballard9365 at lakelandcollege.edu, or reach Kim Hunter at 217-234-5287 or khunter at lakelandcollege.edu. Information on Lakeland College can also be found at lakelandcollege.edu. Several new Illinois laws officially took effect on Wednesday, July 1st, bringing changes that could impact schools, families, workers, and drivers across central Illinois. One of the biggest changes involves early childhood programs. The newly created Illinois Department of Early Childhood is now taking over as the lead agency for several programs, including child care licensing, Head Start, early intervention services, home visiting programs, and child care assistance. State officials say the move is designed to create a more streamlined system for families and child care providers. A new education law also expands protections against bullying in Illinois schools. The updated law adds protections involving artificial intelligence, including situations where AI-generated images or digital replicas are used without permission and cause harm similar to traditional bullying. Another change impacts senior drivers across Illinois. The Secretary of State's office is adjusting the process for certain older drivers completing required driving tests, changing how those screenings are handled moving forward. A temporary measure that began during the COVID-19 pandemic has also been now made permanent. Restaurants and bars that meet state requirements can continue selling cocktails and mixed drinks for pickup and delivery. The new laws also include changes affecting employment and state programs. Officials say the July 1st changes are part of a larger group of legislation passed by lawmakers and are intended to update state services, protections, and regulations. For Central Illinois residents, the biggest impacts are expected to be seen in schools, child care services, and programs that families rely on every day. For a full list of laws that took effect on July 1st in Illinois, visit ilga.gov. Under the Legislation and Laws menu, select Public Acts. Ongoing research remains a key mission of the Illinois Nutrient Research and Education Council. Brett Pollard is the Illinois Farm Bureau representative on the NREC board.
If we want to adequately advocate for farmers in what they are doing in the nutrient loss space, we need that information. Otherwise, as farmers, we're going to be at the mercy of some other model or information. So to have the information, and as we've gotten more over time, considering, Illinois NREC has invested $48 million since 2013 on how they on those projects. We're starting to do some more summarization of those projects, working on a cross section with U of I and Illinois EPA right now on trying to get that information so that when we look forward towards the future of the nutrient loss reduction strategy for Illinois, we can accurately, attribute contributions and deficits to Illinois farmers instead of just some number that is made up from one, random scientific research paper.
The Illinois Nutrient Research and Education Council was created by state statute in 2012. In January of 2025, the assessment on bulk fertilizer sold in Illinois was raised from 75 cents per ton to $1 to fund NREC projects throughout the state. Celebrating 2 academic years of the Illinois Farm Bureau Actively Engaged Student of the Month, the program was launched in the fall of 2024. A total of 20 students have been honored, and they were recognized at a special banquet last month at the Aaron Leach Club at Illinois State University's Hancock Stadium. The recognition program is based on FFA, 4-H and County Fair, IHSA, and student and club organization participation. Get news anytime from your computer or your mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network news comes your way now.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. President Trump, who has pressed the NATO allies to spend more on defense, is getting ready to head to Turkey for the annual NATO summit. His agenda for the summit will include holding the allies' feet to the fire, pushing them to honor the previous commitments they made. The gathering to run through Wednesday. President will leave Washington later today. Russia's war in Ukraine will be among issues discussed at the meeting. Ukrainian President Zelensky will address the NATO allies. Overnight, Russia launched more deadly drone and missile strikes on Ukraine's capital city of Kiev. First, there was the dangerous and deadly heat. Now comes the rain, flooding rain, sweeping across parts of the Midwest, moving on into the east. Gas prices continue drifting lower. AAA's national average for a gallon of regular, $3.79. That's down a penny from yesterday. Dow futures are down 18 points. NASDAQ futures up 314. More details, srnnews.com.
Are you carrying more than $10,000 in credit card debt? Do you feel like you're running on a financial treadmill, making payment after payment, month after month, yet never getting ahead? If you're tired of watching your hard-earned money disappear into interest charges, there may be options available to help you take back control of your finances. At Total Financial Freedom, they'll show you what qualified consumers may be able to save through programs designed to help them resolve debt faster than making minimum payments alone. The consultation is free, confidential, and comes with absolutely no obligation. Why spend years, sometimes decades, paying thousands in interest when there may be a better path forward? Total Financial Freedom is a Christian-owned company that has helped thousands of Americans pursue financial freedom for nearly 20 years and is proudly A+ rated and accredited by the Better Business Bureau. Call now and ask how you can receive a complimentary copy of The Debt Dietitian. Stop running in place. Start moving toward financial freedom at 866-744-7344. 866-744-7344.
From the Hart Media Group Sports Desk, IL Sports Wire, and DeWittDailyNews.com, I'm Ben Hubbard with this local sports report. Colson Montgomery hit a 2-run homer, and Kyle Teal and Tristan Peters added solo shots as the Chicago White Sox beat the Cleveland Guardians 7-6 on Sunday to split a 4-game series between the AL Central's top teams.
After a 90-minute delay to start Sunday's series finale in Cleveland, the White Sox found a way to win in sloppy conditions, battling a wet field throughout the day, but finding a way to walk away with a series split on the strength of 3 long balls.
Swinging a deep drive out into right center field. That will get to the wall, and it's gone. He hit the platform just above the wall, and it bounced into the bullpen. A 2-run blow for Montgomery. 6-3.
7-6 winner for the Sox as they leave Cleveland in first place by 1 over the Guardians, and they return home for the final homestand before the All-Star break, beginning with the Red Sox on Tuesday. I'm Jeff Meller, and I'll have your pregame coverage starting at 6 o'clock on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Network.
The White Sox are off today, but you can catch Tuesday's kickoff of a midweek series with the Red Sox on WHOW. Pre-game starts at 6 p.m. Nico Horner drove in 2 runs. Pete Crow Armstrong had 2 hits, and the Chicago Cubs rallied for 4 runs in the 6th inning against a sloppy St. Louis defense to top the St. Louis Cardinals 6-4 on Sunday and avoid a series sweep. Alex Bregman doubled in a run. Pinch hitter Pedro Ramirez had an RBI, and the Cubs posted 2 unearned runs to win for the 10th time in their last 13 games. St. Louis's Jordan Walker hit his 20th homer, a 3-run shot in the 6th, then drove in a 4th run with a sacrifice fly in the 8th to boost his RBI total to 67, tied for most in the majors. Rookie J.J. Weatherholt and Alec Burleson each had 2 hits. After Walker's drive to deep left put St. Louis ahead 3-2, Chicago took advantage of 2 Cardinals errors in the bottom of the 6th. Horner tied it at 3-all with an RBI single off Matthew Liberatore, who is 4-6. Michael Busch scored to make it 4-3 when third baseman Jose Fermin threw Dansby Swanson's double play grounder wide of second and into right field. Horner scored from third on Ramirez's sacrifice fly to Walker and right. Swanson came home from second to make it 6-3 when Walker's throw to third skipped wide of the bag. Drew Pomeranz is 1-3 and pitched an inning of relief for his first win with the Cubs since rejoining them Friday. Jacob Webb tossed the final 2 innings for his 3rd save. Cubs starter Javier Assad allowed no runs in 4 2/3 innings, yielding 2 singles while walking 2 and striking out 2. Liberatore allowed 4 earned runs on 4 hits in 5+ innings and was nursing a 2-0 lead entering the 6th when Matt Swanson relieved. Liberatore walked 2, hit 3 batters, and struck out 2. The Cubs jumped ahead 2-0 in the 1st, scoring on Bregman's double and Horner's sacrifice fly. Cardinals right-hander Dustin May is 5-6 with a 4.8 ERA and faces Milwaukee lefty Shane Drohan, who is 3-2 with a 3.12 ERA in St. Louis on Monday. Cubs lefty Matthew Boyd is 3-1 with a 5.08 ERA and starts Tuesday at Baltimore against Orioles right-hander Shane Baz, who is 4-8 with a 4.19 ERA. In Sunday scores from around the MLB, the New York Mets beat the Atlanta Braves 10-9, while the Pittsburgh Pirates took down the Washington Nationals 11-5. The Cincinnati Reds beat the Baltimore Orioles 3-2, and the Minnesota Twins took down the New York Yankees 6-1. The Kansas City Royals beat the Philadelphia Phillies 5-2, while the Detroit Tigers beat the Texas Rangers 6-3. The Houston Astros shut out the Tampa Bay Rays 2-0, while the Colorado Rockies beat the San Francisco Giants 7-6. The Milwaukee Brewers beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 3-2, and the Miami Marlins took down the Athletics 9-8. The Seattle Mariners shut out the Toronto Blue Jays 4-0, while the San Diego Padres beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-2, and the Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Angels 7-5. After a successful card trick that made Folarin Balogun's suspension disappear, the United States will try to win back-to-back World Cup knockout games for the first time and reach its first quarterfinal since 2002. Coach Mauricio Pochettino figures to have his top choice lineup available Monday when the Americans, ranked 17th in the world ahead of this tournament, face number 9 Belgium in a rematch of the 2014 round of 16 game in Brazil, won 2-1 by the Red Devils in extra time. At stake is a quarterfinal berth against either Spain or Portugal and the chance to play France or Morocco in a semifinal. Belgium overcame a 2-goal 86th minute deficit to defeat Senegal 3-2 over extra time in the round of 32. The Red Devils beat the U.S. 12 years ago on goals by Kevin De Bruyne and Romelu Lukaku, and again 5-2 in a March friendly in Atlanta. After losing their group stage final to Turkey 3-2 on a stoppage time goal, the Americans entered the knockout rounds with a 10-game, 4-year losing streak to European opponents. The U.S. beat Bosnia-Herzegovina 2-0 on goals by Balogun and Malik Tillman for just its second World Cup knockout stage win. Balogun is eligible to play after FIFA suspended his suspension for a red card against Bosnia, a decision that followed a phone call from U.S. President Donald Trump to FIFA President Gianni Infantino. Get highlights of your local high school program by finding IL SportsWire on your preferred social media platforms, and get local sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
This is staff meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki with your regional radio forecast. Slight chance for storms. Today, otherwise cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Highs level off around 82. Winds out of the north, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Slight chance of thunderstorms. Tonight, lows dip down to about 64, partly cloudy skies. Hear weather twice an hour or online anytime at DeWitt